Hello. I would like you all to imagine working for 4 years straight, pouring your blood, sweat, and tears into perfecting your craft, yet not being paid for any of it at all, making your work seem very ineffective in terms of your own financial benefits. For college athletes, though, this is not an imagination, this is their reality. College athletes pour in so much time and energy into perfecting their abilities every single day of their lives, mostly, just for the NCAA to waste this by not being able to, by passing rules that make it so these players don't get any compensation for their work at all. They are not allowed to make money from their names, and they're not allowed to get a paycheck or get any salary due to the NCAA's rules. It is very unjust, and it seems really childish and disrespectful from a company such as the NCAA, such a big corporation such as themselves. I have researched this topic enough where I feel comfortable in confirming that it is very unethical to hold these college players hostage financially. And given my desire to become a sports journalist, it's actually my job in the future to research topics like this. So not only am I speaking about this topic, and I feel very passionate about this topic, I want to learn more about this topic, and I have learned a lot about this topic. So I do feel very confident in telling you that it is very unjust what the NCAA is doing to these college athletes, and not giving them pay for work is very inconsiderate. All college athletes should be getting paid in reference to the amount of money they bring into the NCAA in terms of revenue. And not paying these athletes is unfair given they put so much work to get to this point and they bring in so much money to the NCAA, yet they get nothing in return. It is very cruel to think that way. Today, I will be requesting for all of you to have an open mind as I speak to you about how it would be beneficial to the college athletes if we pay them, the downfall of not paying them, why they deserve to be paid, and how it can be very detrimental to their lives in general if we don't pay these athletes. But first off, I would like to speak on not only why college athletes should be paid, but why they deserve to be paid. According to ESPN.com/college athletes should be paid, the NCAA signed a TV deal for a tournament that is called March Madness. March Madness is a tournament at the end of every NCAA basketball season in which the best 64 teams from the nation duke it out to see which team can win the grand glory, which is the national title. Every team plays for 3 weeks to a month, and eventually there's crowned one winner. Emotions are high, there's heartbreak, there's so many people running wild, all the players are playing at their fullest and they're playing at their true potentials, and of course everyone loves to tune in. Everyone around the world loves to watch the NCAA's March Madness, and this is a big reason on why they can actually secure so much money. And given, yes, there are teams that win, and there are teams that win big trophies, and they pride themselves on this for months, there's only one big winner in this entire tournament, and it's the NCAA themselves. Because actually, when you look into more of the details from the deal, you see that it's not just a 13-year deal that's benefiting off of money that is unjust since they're not really generating the money, it's the players. You look more into it, the NCAA is making an outstanding amount of money from just these kids playing. You guys ready to hear this? $11.8 billion going straight into the pockets of the NCAA, even though these players are generating the money. And yes, you may think of this as very bad. You may think of this as very unjust and unfair, and it is all of those things. The NCAA is taking those money from the players, and they're making $12 billion nearly in return. If that doesn't sound cruel, I don't know what does. Many like to presume that since sports are so easy, that these college athletes don't deserve to get paid at all. But in reality, first off, that's just incorrect. Sports are not easy at all. They take a huge physical and emotional toll on your body that make it so you have to work really hard to get to the point where you're prepared to fight on a national level or on a huge stage to show that you're the best. College athletes, though, don't just dribble and throw a ball. They balance many things in their lives that make it so they deserve to get paid. Just as collegeexpress.com/should-college-athletes-be-paid states, being a college athlete actually takes much more than just dribbling or shooting. Being a college athlete is a full-time job, bouncing between the film room, the weight room, the court/field, and film sessions. This goes to show how versatile and on top of everything college athletes have to be in order to reach their full potential in their certain sports. And not only do they have to juggle all these things in their life, they generate billions of dollars. It just seems that they work so much to return so little, and that to me is really unjust. A point that people who are opposed to the topic love to say is the fact that college athletes, when they enter college, are rewarded with things such as tuition and meal plans. But when you look at the entire picture, you see this as a very, very laughable topic. Just saying that they're getting tuition and meal plans is at first already ignorant, because when you look at the entire picture, college athletes don't even go to school. Most of them don't even go to school to hit the books or study very hard. There are some exceptions, but most of them go to do what they love to do best and what they're good at, which is sports. So in reality, they are going to school to do something they love to do, but they're not getting paid at all for it. And people have to use the excuse of tuition or meal plans to back up the idea that they're getting paid, even though they're not at all. If you're working at a company and you're generating most of the money for this company, and this company rewards you with staplers, glue sticks, and sticky notes, you would feel disrespected and as if you were having a pointless revenue or having a pointless return. And you would be right. But this is what these college athletes have to experience every day. They don't get the right revenue that they deserve, the right compensation they deserve, even though they're generating so much money. Those who disagree with paying college athletes also like to argue that college athletes would be losing, that colleges themselves would be losing money if they start paying these athletes, which is actually far from the truth, and it would be very on the contrary. Paying these athletes would be very beneficial to the colleges themselves. Colleges have a certain issue right now where many players, college athletes, go into college just for a stepping stone. They go in for 1 year and they might declare for the NBA or NFL draft. Paying these athletes might actually help convince them to stay longer in college, and that would actually benefit the colleges due to them having these players for a longer time and be able to get more financial needs off of them, such as sponsorships, TV deals, shirt sellings, and they can actually make much more on things such as from their names. But at the same time, they will be paying the players, which they don't do right now, which means that both parties have the potential to be much happier. Now that we know some of the opposition's takes, and now that we have shut down those ignorant takes on the matter at hand, let's dive deeper on what we can do to help these athletes that are being fairly treated and what we can do to help them get the payment they deserve. Just speaking on how college athletes are being undermined and not paid enough for the hard work they put in is very easy to do. The more helpful thing to do is actually set up a plan and what we can do to help. And luckily enough, there are many things that we can do to make sure these athletes are actually being paid in the future. But first, in California recently, there was a bill proposed to the state that actually allowed college athletics to have many different financial flexibilities. One of them being having an agent before you declare for the NBA or NFL draft. This is a very good thing that the NCAA is warming up to having these athletes have more and more payment flexibilities. And even though it's just one state, and even though it's just one aspect of the entire matter at hand, it is a very good step in the right direction that we need to be taking. Now, many of the audience throughout the time that I've been speaking to you may have thought to yourselves, what can I do to help? And it's actually a very simple answer. Spread the word. All you have to do is spread the word about what's going on with the matter at hand. And believe it or not, the situation at hand with the California bill was actually passed and moved on due to that. There was a lot of people coming together to help that bill being passed. Athletes, politicians, journalists, etc. were all in favor of that act and of that bill and were able to pass it. And while just speaking to people may seem trivial and excessive or have a really big potential to fail, it is actually somewhere to build a stepping stone from. It's actually somewhere to build a foundation. And that's where the generation of this movement has to begin. Why don't you go out there and help? College athletes try so hard to get to the point they're at in life, just to be undermined by less important things, such as the competitive spirit of the game, or the thin line between amateur and professional sports. They have to realize for some of them, this is their only chance of making it big. Some of them have financial downspires, and some of them have financial hardships after this, due to them not being able to get that tiny little boost from their colleges. What we must do to help them is just spreading the word and just letting people know about how we can help these college athletes. So once again, everyone out there has to open their eyes at this huge issue at hand that is posed by the inconsiderate and ignorant rules the NCAA has created. It is so that these athletes can stop being continued to be undercut. Everyone has to play their part, spreading the word, talking to everyone, doing everything they can in their part to help, and to help this huge issue at hand. These kids are being taken for granted. So finally, picture yourself one more time with everything I have just told you. This time you know more about the situation at hand. You know you're trying to juggle everything. You know you're making so much money yet you're being compensated with nothing. And you feel probably angry, upset. You feel like you're fuming. It's unjust what they're doing to you. Those are all the right feelings. But you have to remember, for college athletes, that imagination you're having in your brain right now isn't an imagination. It's the reality.